Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. My next guest has a very inspiring message about how you should not let your disability hold you back from doing things you love. So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite beverage, and let's learn more about him. See you there.
I wanna believe in the truth, but only see what I'm shown. Got the freedom to choose, but can't decide on my own. Follow what the group is thinking, bottle up my intuition till
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. Today I'm joined with Marchello Guardino. Welcome to the show, Marcello.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right, so why don't we start off with tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, all right. Well, see, my name is Marchello Guardino. Marchello Guardino. Um, I was diagnosed with a condition called Friedrich's ataxia whenever I was 14 years old. I am 28 years old now, so I've been living with the condition for half my life. Um, Whenever I was diagnosed, I was able-bodied. I was walking around, running with friends, and enjoying life. And it was like a, I still am. But my diagnosis started progressing. So, I'm 14, I was walking. By the time I was 18, I was dependent on a wheelchair. Um, and then from there, 18 until now 28 years old, the progression has continued. I have had to learn a lot of different methods of actually succeeding with things. And it's amazing because all these different concepts and perspectives that I've adapted and starting to use, I really find a difference a difference in challenges. It's amazing. And now I have been preaching my words, the things that I have discovered on my journey, and it is inspiring so many. I love that, and I see that this is my purpose. Now, read me personally, I am very faithful in God. Um, and I view my condition not as an adversity or a disadvantage. It's an advantage. I look up and I thank God every day for the gift of my condition. Right? And I think it's how we all have to view our abnormalities, right? It's a
Mhm.
gift, a God-given gift, and that is amazing. And even the story itself, it inspires me to keep going with this, share it with others.
Now, let's talk about how what things you've discovered in your life. When you started on your journey to help yourself to get better, to inspire others, what were some of the things you've done? And what have you discovered?
Right, some of the things I've done. Instead of accepting defeat, right, that things aren't good enough and just sitting around and doing nothing. I mean, like you're doing right now, right, with your podcast. This is incredible. It's a great way to share these messages around. Um, Now I've been doing something similar, so I was like, you know what? I'm losing the ability to walk. Things aren't doing very. Things aren't looking up, right? And the odds say that uh, you might be okay for a while, but things are gonna be really tough. Instead of accepting that, I decided to rise up and be like, all right, look, I'm not able to walk and things are difficult. Things take me a lot. a lot longer, a lot more time to get things done. So I flipped the script, right? I looked at life from a different angle and decided to venture on the digital space. So I started looking at other um, successful entrepreneurs online, and I found that path. All right, I want to become an entrepreneur from my computer, right? Not having to walk or really converse too much. Uh, It was incredible. I started building different brands and businesses online, and from there, really started sharing my own message. So I mean, really, my my advantage in this has been uh, exploring what I can do, right? Exploring what I can do. And what I have been doing is a lot of things online.
Now, when you got this diagnosis, how did it affect your life? And how did you take the news?
So I was 14 years old, right? No, I was noticing symptoms prior, um, which was like shortness of breath in PE or gym class, right? And then not being able to really keep up with my peers. Um, I'm sorry,
Sure.
can you repeat your question?
I asked you, when you got this diagnosis, how did you take it? And then how did you go about dealing with the news?
Thank you. All right, yeah. So I was 14 years old, so remembering it vividly is kind of tough, but I do remember that my parents they were heartbroken, but I couldn't help but smile, kind of jump with joy. Finally figured out what was going on. Um, that to me was powerful and motivating. Um, I didn't see it as a burden. I was happy that all the testing that I all the testing that I was going through to figure out what was wrong was
Hmm.
over. Knew what was happening. That was really good. Um, like I said, my parents were heartbroken, so it was tough on them. I didn't look at I didn't look at the challenges right. I didn't look at the bumps in the road to come. I never looked at that, and I still don't, which is powerful and it's awesome.
Now, when you found out that you weren't going to be able to walk, that you had to use a wheelchair, how did you look at that as a challenge? And then how did you accomplish that challenge?
Yeah, and that was not fun. Right? I've always had a pretense in my mind that we need to be normal, and that's something that we gotta let go of. But that's not the case. Oh, um, it was tough to get used to being in a chair, to accept it. And I will tell you honestly right now, I still have a tough time accepting being in a wheelchair. I mean, it's it's tough not only again accepting that I'm in the chair, but getting around, a lot of places are not accessible. nowhere near as you'd expect, especially in today's world. Which I mean, it's just another hurdle that we gotta overcome, right? But when it comes to being able and mindful of being in the chair, it's always been a tough thing. Just saying I've gotten rid of it or gotten over it again is a false statement. It's just something I gotta realize and accept on a daily basis. I have gotten better though over the years. I mean, at first, mm, it was very, very difficult to be like, all right, because let's see, through high school, I refused to use a wheelchair. I went to an all boy high school, and mm, I didn't want to be the sore thumb, right? There was no one else in a wheelchair, which is kind of nerve wracking, right? It scared me a little bit. Um, and just that others were not gonna see the benefit of me in the chair, just see the chair for what it is. Um, so I took a minute from there. When after high school, I actually went to college in the wheelchair. So I did. I forced myself to get out in public areas, especially where I had fear of using the chair first. And I use it every day in college, and that really helped me out. That really helped.
No. You were said, I'm proud of you, the fact that you said you refuse to use a wheelchair. You were like me when I was in high school. I refused to be that odd person out, to be that person with a disability, because I'm pretty sure we both have that same feeling of we don't want people to look down on us or tease us. We wanted to be regular. I mean, that's the hardest thing is, and what you said is true. A lot of people, when they see somebody either in a wheelchair or with a disability, they tend to back off from us. I feel part of the problem, and tell me if you agree with this, is they're afraid of either what to say or they don't know what to say without offending us.
Absolutely. I do agree with that. I like to say that our difference is a superpower.
Yeah.
So they're afraid not to, and they're afraid of being not what to say, but also they're scared of what we can do.
hmm The thing is, I mean, I think people look at us and they don't see the other side. They don't see that we are just like everyone else. We just have a disability. It could be a physical one, it could be a mental one. But like the quote goes, we're different, not less. We may have a disability, but it doesn't make us any less of a person. We do everything you can do, but we either may do it slower or differently.
Mm, Yep.
Now, how did you get through? How is getting through high school for you?
Getting through high school.
hmm What was that like? What was your high school experience like?
Yeah, right. It was a little different. So my freshman and sophomore years, I was newly diagnosed going into high school, 14 years old. I finally knew what I had. Well, like I said, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't want to know. I I didn't look at my condition until a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, and it affects one in 50,000 people in the U.S. Um, and they give a timeline of or an exit time of mid 30s. And that's just, I mean, none of that is anything I want to ever accept. So there's a benefit in not looking at it until later on, right?
Hmm.
That is uh, insane. I
Now,
don't like how those judging words
yeah.
can be there. But high school was good at first. Um, I was very off kilter. Balance was a very tough thing at first. I couldn't walk a straight line, and all boy high school, you get made fun of a lot, right? Like, oh, here goes the junkhead and stuff like that. Which I was drunk, and yeah, I just couldn't walk a straight line. Let's see, and then quickly things got a turn halfway through sophomore year. I had a grand mal seizure, and it scared me very bad. I remember waking up and that yeah, I came to a little bit in the ambulance, and then really came to at the in the hospital, and um I couldn't move really with my condition just being a neurological disorder. Um, uh, the violent shaking
Hmm.
it caused all my muscles just give out. Like they needed total relaxation. I couldn't move my body. Terrifying. um, with that, I looked at my parents and was like, "You guys, I don't know if I want to do this again. I don't know if I want to go back to school, but because I can only imagine it happening there." Thankfully, I was at home when it happened. Um, yeah. And then what we did is we contacted all my teachers in high school, and um, I got on several calls with them, and they were like, "You're a straight A student. You deserve your rest for the rest of the year," because it was we were already 3/4 of the way through the sophomore year. Um, so I mean they let me stay home, really rest things off, and they passed me.
Yeah, that's
Amazing.
amazing. That's an amazing school system. That's what school systems should be like today, in public and in private.
Right. You're right. And this school was a beautiful school. I mean, I really should have accepted their opportunities because after the seizure going into junior year, they said, "Look, uh, we're not going to make you come into school. Well, what we can do is we can get you a," and this was before they've gotten better, but it was a camera, a robot that would go around. So you'd be like on a Zoom call, well, like we're doing right now, but it would roll around and go from class to class. So I would be at school from the comfort of my own room.
Now, you obviously have friends. How did they take the news about everything that happened to you? From the diagnosis to your seizure, were they supportive?
I've never really been close with friends. So it was really my family, and thankfully they were all supportive, and they held me up, and they still do today. Because friends like in high school even, I can't give you a name of one person.
No. What inspired you to share your story with the world to let them know, hey, just because somebody's got a disability like myself doesn't mean I'm not gonna let it stop myself that you need to fight for what you believe in.
Right. I just I mean I'm 28 years old right now, right? Um and I use Facebook quite a bit. Facebook and Instagram. Um I I would I'll release little updates while I'm doing it now. My condition is progressing. And the updates would get a lot of notoriety and comments from family and friends or acquaintances. Um, that was empowering, and that really showed me that look, I have a message that people deserve to hear. People need to hear. Not only talking about myself, but having it relate to others' situations, right? Their challenges. Um, and that's what I started doing, and just ended up being so powerful that I do it to this day. But instead of only focusing on myself, I really take the time to create a message out of what is going on. And the messages are very relatable,
Mhm.
inspiring, and motivating. It really helps people out. Um, let's see, I did this program you might have heard of Tony Robbins and D.
Mhm.
Graziosi. They had a program called the Knowledge Broker Blueprint. So I went through that course, and one powerful line that I still remember is your mess is your message. That took me by storm, and really, in that moment, hearing those words, that phrase, "Your mess is your message." I was like, "Holy cow, that's what I need to do." So I feel like my purpose is share my story, right? Spread the message as far as I can,
And
and
how has it gotten? I mean, what kind of response and recognitions have you gotten for your message?
yeah, and it is. See, I haven't totally signed the contract on this yet, but from my messages on Facebook, I got hired to be a keynote speaker, a motivational keynote with 600 plus people. Um, and that will be in July. So the messages are they're being heard. They're getting out there. And it's cool because to spread it further with my online entrepreneurial journey, I have started looking into different ways to really advertise and market myself. Get my messages out there. And I found I found some neat stuff in there. Actually, I've been building these sales funnels, which is that a word behind me, and was really applying all my messaging, my story to the sales funnels that I've learned. It's incredible. I'm here. from here it is marketing, which right now I am trying to get on other people's stages to gain more of a following and release my message to a wider audience.
You know, I must say I am proud of you for getting that message across, for getting that contract to be a keynote speaker. I mean, it's important that people need to realize that no matter what kind of disability, what kind of disease you've got, you keep fighting. You keep inspiring people because like the message says, your message. Let people know how you're living your life. A lot of people will think, oh, I have this, therefore I'm not able to do anything. Wrong. Let people know, hey, I have this and I'm able to do everything I put my mind out to do.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And then finally, how can people find out more about you and get a hold of you?
I don't want about me. Let's see. I'm working on polishing or finishing my website. And that is my name.com. So marcelloshortino.com. Marcelloshortino.com. Same thing on Facebook and Instagram. Marcello Shortino. It's really where I post and share all my inspiring stories daily. It's really cool stuff. Um, I want to tell you right now, Reed. Uh, um,
Take it
go ahead.
Take it easy. I mean, no rush.
Yeah. And I've been looking into AI programming quite a bit. Right, AI software. Um, yeah, something that I've really lost the ability to do is draw. I used to love drawing and painting. Um, but my dexterity, my coordination is just a little too off. So I'm going the digital route and Microsoft Paint. I enjoyed using Microsoft Paint for a while, but now I've been looking into AI stuff. You know, generating images and animating short clips. It's been incredible. So on my social links, there's a lot of that in there as well. And, it's amazing how these different AI programs
Mhm.
can really help with the creative workload for people with disabilities, right? And so I try to showcase that on my pages. It was incredible. Other than that, my my presentation for the speech, it is called "Winning Despite the Odds." So that is a lot of what my recent postings have been, and that's what I'm going with all my stuff. So again, my website and socials being Facebook and Instagram, Marcello Shortino.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Reed Miles, and that was Marcello Scortino, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Marcello.
Thank you.